Hello, and welcome to another exciting edition of Hidden in the Universal Vault. I'm Ron, your host, and welcome you to my review of Sergeant Bilko from 1996. I'm watching this off of the 4-movie marathon family comedy collection. This also has Dudley Do-Right, Cop and a Half, Ed, and Dudley Do-Right. Now, these three movies I have covered on the channel. So if you want to know my thoughts on those movies, they're somewhere on the channel. So I actually watched 2 movies off of the set. Cop and a Half and Ed. I had it loose because I didn't have Ed. But I rebought it to have, well, Sergeant Bilko. Dudley Do-Right was the movie I covered as a standalone on an old release. Then I replaced it with this 4-pack. But I'm here to talk about Sergeant Bilko. And hold on one second, just checking. Okay, I'm going to pull it out because there's no plot on the back. So yeah, what did I think of Sergeant Bilko? Ooh, this is just, yeah, it's bad. So I found the Wikipedia page, and I'm going to read it through the Wikipedia page, so I kind of give the plot. So yeah, before I read the plot, I'll talk about the cast right here. This has Steve Martin, Dan Aykroyd, Phil Hartman, Glendy Headley. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'm probably butchering names. This movie, in addition to that, you also have the bully from Problem Child 2. And I'll get to his character in a bit, though. But, like I said, it's directed by Jonathan Lynn. Hang on, guys. Yeah, Jonathan Lynn, who directed the excellent Greedy, a movie I covered on the channel. So, unfortunately, yeah, let's actually talk about the movie before I do. So, I'm going to get into the Wikipedia page. Sorry if there's a light. So, I'm going to kind of read what Sergeant Bilko's about. I'll just read the first half of it. So, here's the plot to Sergeant Bilko. Sorry if you see a light right here, but I got to read the plot. Master Sergeant Ernest G. Bilko is in charge of the motor pool at Fort Baxter, a small United States Army base that develops new military technology. Exploiting this position, he directs a number of scams ranging from gambling to renting out military vehicles. His commanding officer, Colonel John Hall, overlooks Bilko's money-making scheme, as he is most concerned with problems in the hover tank that the base is designed. So really, that's the plot of what Sergeant Bilko is. This is also based on a 1950s sitcom called The Phil Silver Show, which in that movie, not that movie, but that show basically starred Phil Silvers as Sergeant Bilko. Eventually the show would be called Sergeant Bilko. If the show's anything like this movie, I really have no interest in checking out the show. I'm sure the show's probably funny, but if it's anything like this, I can tell you right now, Sergeant Bilko is the worst movie I watch. So right at the beginning, we're introduced to a soldier who, right at the beginning, they play C. Miller Band's Living in the USA. So that's a great start. Okay, that might be fit in. Then we get a bunch of other soldiers, and he's introduced to a bunch of these soldiers, including the bully from Problem Child 2, who's supposed to be like the overweight guy on the recruitment of Bilko's squad. So right now we get Dan Aykroyd, who plays his sort of sergeant, head of sergeant, and then we get Phil Hartman, who plays a rival for him when Bilko enlisted to the army, and Hartman went AWOL in this. I forget his character's name. I forget who the actor played. Let me look it up really quick. Oh, Eric Edwards is the actor's name. He is Dwayne Dugelman. This also has Steve Park. He plays Captain Moon. He has a small role in Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing, which I covered many years ago on the channel. He was also on the sketch comedy series In Living Color. So, unfortunately, that character has no development. His character, Parks plays Lieutenant Moon, who is assistant to Aykroyd's character, who's also the sergeant. So, unfortunately, the bully from Problem Child, I thought, okay, maybe he's similar to his character in the second Problem Child. No, he may be actually the worst actor in this. He's the worst character. He's just not funny. None of the characters barely have any dimension whatsoever. They also build hover tanks. Also, there's Bilko having a relationship with a woman that he was going to marry. She's also a director of play. She also directs the Guys and Dolls play for the school. And literally no character development anywhere for these other characters. And just to put more salt on the wound, Travis Tritt even appears in the movie. And he's like the country western singer. Also, these guys go out to Las Vegas and they gamble all the time. I just got bored with this movie. Steve Martin was excellent. He was excellent in Parenthood. He can do dramedies. Unfortunately, Steve Martin is just more obnoxious than funny. I love Steve Martin. I think he's like the funniest guy. Parenthood is my favorite movie I covered on the channel of his. There's a few other ones. In fact, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, which I covered last year, which made on my honorable mentions list, I did cover, and he wasn't that good in that, but at least he had a character and he was fun on screen. Here, I don't get anything of that. The problem again is taking an old TV show from like the 50s and 60s and turning a film adaptation doesn't work. I'll give you an example. Wild Wild West, when they made that was a show in the 60s, which I didn't know about, was eventually a feature film in 1999. Proves to show you that didn't work. Maverick, that worked because you had characters that were good. The reason why Maverick worked was because you had a veteran actor like James Garner, who played the original Brett Maverick, handed over to Mel Gibson, but also appearing in the movie. That worked. The Fugitive may be the best TV turned film adaptation. Sergeant Bilko just didn't make me laugh. Also, like I said again, Phil Hartman, who appeared in Greedy, was hilarious, was hysterical. This, he just was so annoying. All he does is just yells like, ah, ha, ha. He'll do that. It worked in Greedy, but it didn't work in this. I'm sorry if I got loud, guys, but just to show you. Greedy, I'm going to go back to Greedy because of this director. Greedy had a bunch of knuckleheads trying to inherit money. Here we have a bunch of soldiers trying to be knuckleheads in front of Bilko, who makes them act like knuckleheads. Another military comedy that worked was Major Payne with Damon Wayans, which I do have that movie and I will cover that on the channel. That was hilarious. That was a sergeant who went nuts and straightened those boys out, and they were kids. I found none of that with Sergeant Bilko, and I was just out there bored more than enjoying. It was annoying. Steve Martin was just annoying. You had characters that go nowhere. You would think the bully from Problem Child would work, right? No. In fact, he's trying to be like the overweight guy who enlists. There's a scene in the movie where he can't even do push-ups, so what he does? He does push-ups, and they're very proud of what he does. Only problem is they have two guys pushing him up. It's just, the jokes just got out of the way. I think this is also the same guy who, Andy Brickman. I think he also wrote Greedy. I don't know, guys. I'm trying to think of any positives. The only positives I could say of this movie is the soundtrack is awesome. You had Steve Miller Band's Living USA at the beginning. I thought, okay, this might be good. I was tapping my feet. This might be good military comedy. Sure, that was good. You have Steve Winwood's roll with me. That was awesome. You have a good soundtrack not used well in a film. That's really the only positive. At the end of the day, this is just a total mess. Sergeant Bilko is a mess. For a military comedy, I'm expecting a military comedy. I'll give you another example. Biloxi Blues. I have that movie. That's a military comedy based on a play. Major Payne. I've seen that movie before. It's been forever since I've seen this. Since I've seen Major Payne, that worked because you had a comedian that knew how to make you laugh. Like I said again, Steve Martin just does not work as a sergeant. He just doesn't. Steve Martin is, look, I love Steve Martin. It was just a bad script. It's not Steve Martin's fault. It's just a bad script. And when you got a bad script, you got one hell of a mess. I can't recommend Sergeant Bilko. Avoid this movie and just go watch Greedy. Greedy did a better job with an ensemble cast. Greedy had characters you like. Greedy had a comedy that made you want to laugh your rear end. Greedy had supporting characters that you cared about. Here we have supporting characters that I could not care less about. The fact with them trying to make a hover tank really just, it didn't work. If it had a better script and a better actor to carry this through, maybe you could have had a different actor play Sergeant Bilko, then this movie would be a lot better. And like I said before, at the end of the day, I can't recommend Sergeant Bilko with a passion. This movie has just earned its spot on the worst list at the end of the year when I get to that. I now officially found the next movie that's going to be on the worst list. Again, guys, don't watch Sergeant Bilko. It also feels way too long. This is an hour and 35 minutes, and an hour and 35 minutes I can't even get back. It's unfunny. Characters go nowhere. At the end of the day, it's just a mess of a comedy. So let's go ahead and rate this right now. I'm going to give Sergeant Bilko, again guys, you probably already know where this is going to be, an automatic 2 out of 5. It was a no-brainer. This is another no-brainer where I'm going to put this. But I just feel, again, Steve Martin it doesn't work. And it comes out flat. So, it was a tough decision. This was almost going to be a 1 out of 5. But since I found one big positive, which was the soundtrack, that's why I bumped it up to a 2 out of 5. But in that case, you know what that rating is going to be, I think I said. So, yeah, 2 out of 5 is what I'm going to rate this mess. So, like I said again, guys, do not watch Sergeant Bilko. It's really bad. I mean, it's Steve Martin's worst performance. The whole cast didn't know where they were going. Phil Hartman was just really, was it Phil Hartman? Yeah, it was Phil Hartman. I know. Yeah, it's just a bad film from start to finish. So that's my review of Sergeant Bilko. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you do like the content of the channel, like, comment, subscribe, click the bell, ring the bell to get all my video notifications so you don't miss a single video. I'm on Letterboxd, guys, so you can check me out there as well. Tons of really cool stuff on there. I also, in addition to the Universal reviews, I also have Vlog City, collection updates, just tons of good stuff on the channel to check out. So, yeah. So, like, comment, subscribe, and click the bell so once again, you don't miss the video notifications as well. So, yeah, guys, just avoid Sergeant Bilko. It's really, it's just a bad movie from start to finish. So, yeah, that's it, guys. And as always, keep watching those Universal movies, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.